brałby pieniądze te, które są pokryte srebrem, na które inflacja nie działa w taki sposób, jak na pieniądze, które mamy dzisiaj. Mało tego, były pieniędzmi, z tego co wiem, właśnie bezodsetkowymi. Ale to musiałbym sprawdzić dokładnie z tego, co czytałem, bo mogłem gdzieś źle przeczytać. Od 4 czerwca 1963 roku do 22 listopada 1963 roku wiele miesięcy nie ma. Ale jednak jest przerwa. Dlatego jeszcze jest jedna hipoteza. Hipoteza UFO. Majestic 12, czyli organizacji, która tak naprawdę steruje informacją, już zaraz Kuba ciebie już odbieram, to znaczy chyba jesteś. Jeszcze tylko chciałem powiedzieć o tym UFO, że Majestic 12 zabiło prezydenta Kennedy'ego. Wydaje się to dosyć nieracjonalne, że powód kosmitów że powód kosmitów był na tyle ważny, aby zabić prezydenta. Natomiast są jednak poszlaki dosyć spore, że mogło to mieć olbrzymie znaczenie, nawet większe niż wprowadzenie srebrnej, pokrytej srebrem waluty, nowej waluty Stanów Zjednoczonych, niezależnie od banksterów, od tych globalistów, którzy niszczą, no nie tylko Stany Zjednoczone, oni niszczą wszystkie kraje dookoła, cały świat, jak widzimy w tej chwili, jak ekonomia wygląda. To jeszcze o tym UFO parę zdań. 12 listopada właśnie 1963 roku wystosował dwie notatki Kennedy. Pierwszą do Richarda Helmsa, to był dyrektor CIA, proszącą o to, aby dostarczyć akta UFO Kennedy'emu. Wszystkie akta UFO, które ma CIA. Oczywiście to temat był nawet dla Kennedy'ego tajny, o czym się przekonał dosyć szybko Kennedy, że nie mógł otrzymywać żadnych informacji o UFO, a wiedział, że są. I poprosił Helmsa właśnie 12 listopada. I drugą notatkę wystosował do Jamesa Webba, to był główny administrator NASA, który otrzymał tą notatkę, aby NASA po pierwsze odczepiła się od UFO i ujawniło wszystko, co wie o UFO i nie zajmowała się tym tematem, a wiedział o tym, że NASA się zajmuje tematem UFO i z drugiej strony, że Amerykanie mają zacząć współpracować z Związkiem Radzieckim w celu zdobywania kosmosu. To też się pewnie nie spodobało wielu ludziom. Ale to są tylko poszlaki. Natomiast mamy tajną notatkę, którą znaleziono w archiwach, tajną notatkę MJ-12.
Hey Tony, I kill you man. Which one you want?
Which one? Show me.
Słyszę, że już gość jest, to już szybciutko dokończę tą sprawę. Czyli jest notatka nadpalona, gdzie jest napisane słowo Lancer. To był pseudonim JFK z Secret Service, służb specjalnych i właśnie to też jednak jakoś się składa. Jeszcze jest jedna sprawa profesora Lawrence'a Merrilla, który napisał książkę Killing the Messenger, The Death of JFK, gdzie John Connally, właśnie ten gubernator Teksasu, miał notatki JFK'a, które ujawnił dopiero w 1993 roku, czyli tuż przed śmiercią, które zgadzają się w 90% z pismem JFK'a, bo były sprawdzone przez specjalistów od pisma ręcznego, gdzie są w tych informacjach notatki, że JFK spotkał się z Eisenhowerem, bo chciał po prostu ujawnić UFO, kosmitów. I no, to mogło mieć znaczenie. A dlaczego miał właśnie John Connally te notatki? No, to jest też ciekawa sprawa. Dobrze, to myślę, że możemy przejść do właściwej audycji. Hi, how are you guys? How are you, sir?
Okay.
Yeah, here's fine. How are you?
Yeah. Sorry, guys, we cannot use the full names. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. So.
And can you hear me?
We are with my friend Tony. So Tony has some good information. As I mentioned before, you know, he has a good source. We explained a little bit earlier about it. So, do you have any questions, Claude, about, you know, well, in the special day of the anniversary for JFK? in every radio you can hear the story. I'm sure Tony on his way back home, stuck in the traffic, that's why he's so late. He heard probably some stories in the radio too, but I'm sure you are curious about his opinion about what happened in Dallas 50 years ago, what he thinks, yes?
Not worry about it. First, I have to greet Tony that he wanted to be here on this show. So thank you, Tony, for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So first question I've got, because we played a couple 1 hour ago one clip which was recorded 1 year ago, almost 1 year and a half ago, about your father. That your father told many things about these assassinations of JFK, and I've got a question about it, because your father or you told us that J. Edgar Hoover was planning to kill Kennedy, and is it true that he was also in this plot?
Well, who was involved, basically, from what I understand, is the mafia.
Mafia, okay.
The Cubans, but not on the Castro side, the anti-Castro, anti-communist Cubans that were here in Miami.
Strange. Sorry to interrupt you. It's very strange because Kennedy wanted to kill Castro. It was many
I'll
missions.
explain to you what happened. First of all, it was, of course, I guess the CIA. They weren't happy with Kennedy in office. Then you had the mafia, who, after they helped get him in office, Kennedy's brother started arresting them all. And then, of course, the Cubans, because of the Bay of Pigs. If you're not familiar with the Bay of Pigs, when they went back to free Cuba from Castro, the United States was supposed to support them in the war in the Bay of Pigs. At the last moment, Kennedy pulled the Americans off the naval ships, told them not to attack, when already the Cuban anti-Castros were already on land fighting. And he basically abandoned them, and a lot of those Cubans were killed and imprisoned and tortured. So that is why a lot of the anti-Castro Cubans were against Kennedy here in the United States.
I know, but they should also know that killing President of the United States could do more harm to these people who were fighting with Castro. I think so, because if Americans, they knew that Kennedy was killed by hands of Cubans, they could be angry for
Cubans. They felt that Kennedy. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily Cubans that were, it wasn't the Castro regime that did it. It was Cubans here in the United States.
Yeah.
But the way the whole cover-up, no one was meant to know that it was, Cubans or the CIA or the mafia. It was meant to be that it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Where Lee Harvey Oswald was actually, a spy at one time, but he turned, in a sense, and they used him as a scapegoat. They blamed the whole assassination on Lee Harvey Oswald when he was nowhere near. Have you seen the movie JFK? I'm sure you have.
Yes, I've seen.
The funny thing is, when I sat down with my father and we watched it, he laughed and smiled, and he said, that's exactly what it was. He said, that's exactly how it was. I mean, the movie JFK was basically spot on. All it left off was who pulled the trigger, and that was it. So it was a combination of CIA, the mafia, and Cubans.
Oh,
anti-Castro regime.
And why CIA? It's very strange. Why CIA killed Kennedy?
I think they were unhappy with Castro as as Kennedy as a president. A lot of the decision making he was making. So the CIA and Hoover, they did not like Kennedy at all.
You said before they didn't like his playboy lifestyle or something like that.
They just didn't respect him and like him as a president and his decisions and his lifestyle.
And he was all for a human rights too. Yes, that's what they he was very, revolutionary in his thinking and inspirational. He was against all this crazy Ku Klux Klan back then, and all this secret association groups, and he was very for open society, freedom, and justice, and all this stuff. So
Maybe even a threat to the CIA at one point. Who knows? But if you see in the movie JFK, you'll notice like there was you notice a lot, and after the assassination attempts, you noticed a lot of Cubans that were being killed and blown up in the car bombs. Do you remember that?
Not so much because
Rolando Masfar, those were
I've
his
seen
men.
it long ago. So.
Yeah, Rolando Masfar. I kind of put pieces together from stories my father told me about, his group of men. He was in the military in Cuba, and a lot of these guys were in his unit, and these were his men, along with Rolando Masfar, and these men that were being killed after the assassination were my father's friends and soldiers. And by piecing together and learning about, Rolando Masfar, who I put together is the one who killed Kennedy and pulled the trigger. Those were his men. And of course, Rolando Masfar, he died. If you wiki him or on Wikipedia, you'll probably see that he died of a car bomb as well.
And who killed him? Cubans or
CIA?
And are you sure about that? CIA killed him?
They think it was CIA. He had a lot of. They look at it this way: it was either the CIA cleaning up their tracks.
But he was a CIA officer.
He was associated.
Associate, okay.
So they say either it was the CIA covering their tracks, or because he was so he was such a strong force in the anti-Castro movement, it could have been Castro regime that put up a car bomb.
So, and have you got a second name of second shooter?
That's the only person I know is Rolando Masfar.
But we thought there were two shooters, or one.
That's what they say. They don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows for sure, but from what I understand, it was only one shooter, and it was Rolando.
Someone knows, Tony.
So.
Someone knows.
Maybe three shooters. Could be like I told earlier that I've got two names from internet. Actually, I've got Guy Bannister from USA. He was an ex FBI agent, and I've got Herminto Diaz. He was a Cuban, but he was assassin, mafia assassin.
A lot of these. Do me a favor, when you get the opportunity, wiki his name, and you'll see his associates. Masfar, his associates were the mafia and CIA, men in the CIA. So a lot of these names will tie together.
And of course, Cubans.
Well, of course, yes, Cubans. And he was Cuban. Rolando Masfar, he's Cuban.
And mafia. Can you tell about mafia? Why they wanted?
Tony, listen. Claude, listen. So, did your father know this?
Yeah,
this guy?
Friends. Yeah, they were all in his military unit. Yeah, he was friends with them. I'm sorry, your question about the mafia?
Yes, about why did the mafia want JFK to be dead?
Well, like I said, they helped get him into office during the election, and then after that, his brother started arresting all of them.
Okay, so I've got one question more. If you know something, can you tell us everything you know about UFO or Fed connections? I mean, this executive order number 11110 about silver dollars, silver dollars, and second reason for killing Kennedy. It's UFO knowledge. JFK had the knowledge about UFO, and he wanted to reveal it to people.
I mean, that could have been maybe with the CIA, but
we don't know that.
Well, I don't know anything about that. It could have been maybe something the CIA.
We don't have a source. We have the messenger here, Tony. I mean.
But from what I understand, I've never heard any talk about any UFOs.
Yeah.
Nothing. I've got questions. A question about this because it's like a revolutionary information. What you are telling us.
Yes.
So, what with people in America? What